Super. Okay, so I'm going to be talking about demystifying STEM in terms of myths, experiments, and careers. And there's a wee QR code on all the slides where you can connect to my YouTube channel, which is what is going to be the basis of what I'm talking about and what I have done with my time. So a bit about my background. My career ambitions: when I was 10 years old, I wanted to be a pilot. When I was 16 years old, I wanted to be a music teacher. And when I was 21 years old, I wanted to be a music event promoter. However, now I'm actually an award-winning primary science teacher. I've got a YouTube channel where I host promoting primary science with experiments and careers and all sorts of different things to encourage the younger generation. And I'm also a board member for a STEM education charity. So a wee bit of a difference from what my ambitions were. But a little secret, my background is in music. It is not actually in STEM. When I was qualifying as a teacher, though, an innocuous question that I asked of a lecturer got me involved in STEM education. She got me involved in lots of different projects, and I've just carried it on through my career as a teacher. So what is my point in that? Well, my point is that you don't need to be a scientist to appreciate science. And you don't need to have your life figured out for what you want to do when you grow up. I certainly didn't. But as Neil deGrasse Tyson said, there is no better education than one that is self-driven. And that's what life is about. It's about exploring and discovering, and STEM is a means by which you can do this. However, there are barriers in the way through some pervasive myths. So allow me to do a wee bit of myth busting and demystifying. So myth one, STEM is about teaching children science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. And yes, while STEM is about teaching these things, it's also about allowing people to engage their brains in new ways of thinking, engaging with problem solving, drawing on creativity to develop solutions. It's about teaching a process of planning, developing, testing, analysing, and revising processes to continue to develop their skills and knowledge. And running through all of the above should be engagement in the real world applications of STEM skills and the careers associated with STEM. So it doesn't stand alone as something isolated in the classroom. Myth two, STEM comes at the expense of other subjects. STEM is cross-curricular. For example, pupils should be encouraged to write up their plans, their methods, their results, and conclusions. And research has actually shown a link between STEM education and literacy skills and language learning. A couple of years ago, I had the opportunity to interview somebody who started an educational drones company, and they didn't speak a word of English when they moved to America, but STEM actually allowed them to engage with their peers and develop their language skills through the language of STEM. Myth three, STEM is only for certain types of people. And for a long time, STEM has been seen to be dominated by males, and in the West, this has been white males, as it used to be seen that STEM was not for girls and equal opportunities were not available for people of ethnic minority groups. This is a tide that has been turning, and there's been lots of campaigns to get women and girls into STEM, as well as people from different backgrounds, because STEM is actually for everybody. Myth four, STEM education only happens in the classroom. A lot of STEM learning can and does take place at home. Technology has made it possible for me to produce videos on YouTube as STEM with Mr. N, showing STEM demonstrations that people can easily replicate at home. And they do so on a regular basis because I use simple everyday household items, and there are lots of mobile apps and different websites that can be accessed for STEM learning at home. There's also citizen science projects that people can get involved in, contributing to real and ongoing academic research. And this takes STEM out of the classroom. If you're interested, there are plenty of places to go and find it. Myth five, STEM is only for older students. In fact, research has shown that early and ongoing involvement in STEM education leads to ongoing academic success, and it has pupils better equipped to cope with the technology-focused requirements when entering the workplace. So those are the five myths I was going to debunk. But why does it matter debunking these myths? Well, like it or not, technology is advancing at an incredible pace and it's impacting across the whole STEM spectrum. There's jobs that exist today that didn't exist when I was a child, and there's jobs that are going to exist in the future that don't exist now. There's also an increasing skills gap between what industry requires and skills of our young people coming through the education system. There's also a lack of diversity in gender, lack of diversity of gender and ethnicity within certain industries. Statistics recently reported in the UK by a campaign called WISE, which is Women into Science and Engineering, showed that in September 2022, just over a quarter of the STEM workforce was women. And that was actually lower for engineering and technology, where it was 13% and just over 19% respectively. There's also the issue that children as young as 7 years old start ruling out careers, and this is based on a survey done by Education and Employers in the UK in 2018 of children aged 7 to 11. And there's lots of different reasons for this, such as gender stereotypes, socioeconomic backgrounds, lack of role models, and representation in media. And on top of all of that, most primary teachers don't have a STEM background, so therefore they lack the confidence to engage in STEM, and therefore children miss out on this part of the curriculum as it gets overlooked. So what is STEM with Mr. N, and what am I doing to try and tackle these pervasive myths? For a start, I started off making science experiment videos, as I said, using simple household everyday items. And this shows that STEM can be engaged with people of all ages, and it was a good thing for families to do together. So children were getting exposed to experiments, and they were getting to learn the science behind it, because I don't just show the wow part of the science, but I also explain the how, because there's no point seeing a great experiment and having no idea why it is actually working the way it works. This resource is still accessed by children, and actually was recently validated by the Children's University in the UK to be accessed by children and home educators. However, it's also used now by teachers as a way to enhance their own pedagogy in the classroom by taking on STEM and showing them and explaining ways that they can do things. These videos then extended with partnering with different companies to showcase robotics and coding and how that can be used to enhance learning in the classroom. And this uses robotics that involve things such as just color sensors for coding, as well as controllers, and right through to block coding. So again, bringing those tech skills in early. And although my experiment videos usually mentioned careers that were linked to the science that was being discussed, I thought it was important that children actually heard from people who worked in STEM. Therefore, I started a series of STEM career interviews to show the diversity of careers that are out there, but also the diversity of people, their genders, their backgrounds, their ethnicities, their roots into STEM, people that went to university and left early to take up apprenticeships, and people who actually went the other way and started an apprenticeship and then left to go to university, so that children and young people learn that there's not just the one path into STEM, there's lots of different ways in. And some STEM careers don't even involve having a STEM background. I also have branched out into producing videos with fascinating facts about a range of topics such as dinosaurs, space, and time. And that was just to capture people's interest and encourage them to do a bit more digging themselves, to engage in STEM learning, enhance their own knowledge, or dig a wee bit deeper into things that I was telling them in these videos. And most recently, I've started a series on 100 scientists who influenced the world, but I'm specifically highlighting the diversity of influential scientists. So I'm making sure that there are women and people of different ethnic backgrounds in all of these videos, because lots of people, their achievements were not acknowledged at the time for various reasons. And I'm making sure that these people get recognized along with some of the already established and well-known scientists. So again, it's that way of showing that STEM is for everyone. So that's what I'm doing. What can you do? When we tend to think about people who've made a change in the world, we think of great names that are etched into the collective consciousness, such as Charles Darwin and Abraham Lincoln, who were actually both born on the exact same day, the 12th of February, 1809, or the likes of Isaac Newton, Stephen Hawking, Albert Einstein. However, most of the change that takes place in the world is from nameless people who are changing their society from the inside. I'm very privileged that I hold a position in society that provides me with the opportunity to shape and inspire young minds, and also that I have the knowledge, skills, and opportunity to make videos that promote STEM education, careers, and fascinating information. But you can also make a difference in the world. Talk to your children and the young people around you about the amazing wonders of STEM, explore questions, try experiments, talk about careers, be creative. There's lots of opportunities to promote STEM in our everyday lives, and there are lots of resources out there like my own, which can help you. Another amazing thing about science is no matter what you are passionate about, there is a place for you in the scientific community. Since everything around us is science, there's a lot of STEM careers out there with new ones cropping up all the time where different passions can be combined, as long as you have an open mind. As a final thought, there's something a friend once said to me, which has always stuck with me, which is find what gets you excited and makes you want to know more. Whether that's making pancakes or putting rockets into space, it doesn't really matter. What matters is your passion and enthusiasm. Now, teacher may be my job title, but we can all be teachers by engaging and inspiring those around us. And thank you for listening.
Thank you so much, Stuart. That was inspiring. I appreciate all of your initiatives. Where are you talking to us from?
From Glasgow, where it's currently midnight.
Yeah, I was wondering. Yeah, that's awesome. Does anyone have questions on the panel for Stuart?
I think this is actually a really good idea. But originally you said you first wanted to be in the field of music. So like what inspired you from switching to music to STEM?
I'll answer this as quickly as I possibly can. So trying to get a job in the music industry is very difficult, and I kind of lost my way after uni trying to figure out what I was going to do. I was then in a decent career where I was working in the financial industries, and I was cycling home from work one night and I got knocked down by a car as I was going round a roundabout. Ended up off work for a while, badly injured, still dealing with the pain now 8 years on, and decided that I wanted to do something to make a difference in the world, and went into primary teaching. And at that point, I did not anticipate going into STEM. As I mentioned in there, we had a lecturer who was in doing primary science input with us. I asked her a question about something that she was doing with us, and she said, "Oh, you're interested in that. Why don't you come to this session on astrobiology?" And I remember reading years ago somebody saying, life is what happens to you when you're busy making plans. So I don't make plans, I just say yes to interesting opportunities. So I went to this astrobiology course, which was half a day. And then she asked me to make games for researchers at university because I was creative rather than scientific. So I got involved in that project. And then I got involved in a 3-day astrobiology thing. And all of these opportunities, as they built up, I got more and more interested in STEM. So it was kind of by accident, but that's been now, five or 6 years now that I've accidentally been the STEM lead, and 3.5 years of doing the videos.
I'm really sorry to hear that you got into a car accident. I actually just got into one yesterday, Friday the 13th. And I heard you just said it was an accident that you got into the STEM. I actually just read a really cool quote just yesterday. Not quote, but it was one of the titles of a book. I'm in a book club, but it said the perfect accident. So I think this was like the perfect accident, because what you're doing right now is like really cool.
Thank you. And just from a personal point of view, I would agree it was a perfect accident, despite all the pain and other things, that issues that it's caused. Becoming a teacher is one of the best things I think I've done with my life. I must say one of the best, because I've also married and had 3 children, and I can't exclude them. But becoming a teacher was certainly a great moment.
Thank you so much, Stuart. Please connect with us. Can you, we've got your QR code, never mind, to connect with you. So thank you.